So if you've been following my content for a while, maybe you've watched some of my podcast episodes, maybe you've seen some of my Instagram posts, you're probably going to know already that running isn't exactly my favorite form of exercise. I've talked about it in the past how I have a bit of beef with long distance running, and my beef with long distance running is nothing to do with the fact that I don't like long distance running. I think it may have been taken up the wrong way when I spoke about it in the past. So today I want to talk about why you shouldn't use long distance running to get in shape, why you shouldn't use long distance running to drop body fat, and why running will get you fit, but it won't get you burning body fat. So I've comprised a small little presentation here that we're going to talk through, talking about where we're at with running. All right. So when we're starting here, I 100% advocate when it comes to running, you should run to get fit. 100% you should run to get fit. If you're going to be running on a regular basis, then yes, you're going to get better at running. If you're running to get better at running, then that's fantastic. That's 100% something that you should go and do. Now, if you're running to burn body fat, as in, I'm going to take up running, I'm going to start running 3 or 4 times a week, and that's going to fix my belly. That's going to get rid of the belly for me. But I'm not going to do anything different with my diet. I'm not going to do anything weights and resistance training wise. Then I can 100% guarantee you, even at the start of this training, that you are not going to ever make progress and you're never going to get into the shape that you want to. And the reason I say that is because I've tried all this in the past. I used to do long distance running. I used to spend hours and hours each week out training. I'd done half marathons, and all I got to show for it was, yes, a nice little medal at the end of the half marathon, but also now my joints are fucked. I can barely move most of the time. And I felt like shit all the time when I was doing it. I never actually achieved the results. So for this example, for the purpose of this experiment here, I've gone with 2 imaginary stick men whose name I've made up. These are not real people. Well, picture this, right? So this is George here. George runs 5 times a week. But when George finishes his running, he's got a really good 5K time. George's 5K time is 21 minutes. He's absolutely smashing it with his running at the moment because he's doing it 5 days a week. But look at George. George has this pot belly here. George doesn't feel good in himself. George feels like shit 95% of the time. Now, let's come over here to Jason. Jason, imaginary stick figure number 2. Jason has big arms. He has almost no waist, and he has a 6-pack. Jason only trains weights 3 to 4 times a week. And because of this, Jason is able to stay in shape almost all the time. Jason does no running whatsoever. He might do a little bit of cardio on the treadmill if he gets a bit of a chance, or he might do a little bit of cross trainer. But Jason doesn't run 3 or 4 times a week, 5 times a week like George does. So the point I'm trying to make here is that just because you run doesn't mean you're going to lose weight. And that's what I want to go into today. I want to break it down. I want to go in depth on this so that people can really realize that just going and starting running is exactly the same as just stopping eating healthy foods, or starting to only eat healthy foods thinking that it's going to help you lose weight, or getting rid of all the carbs out of your diet. This is all the same thing. It's just a fad, and it's you're hiding something behind just looking for a quick fix. We don't look for quick fixes, particularly when you follow me, and I don't talk about quick fixes because I don't like them. For the purpose of this experiment, I want to use an example of 2 athletes. Most people will know who these athletes are. On the left here, we've got Mo Farah, whose name I think I've spelled right there. Please do not quote me. And on the left, we have Usain Bolt. Now, I think you will be able to agree with me. Please do correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think Usain Bolt here on the right looks better, has more muscle mass, and is undoubtedly much faster over the shorter distance than Mo Farah here on the left. Mo Farah has almost no muscle mass whatsoever. His arms are very small. He doesn't have much shoulders, and he needs to look like that in order for his sport, which is long distance running, to be able to be sustainable. Whereas Usain Bolt, when he trains, he doesn't do any long distance running. Yeah, he's still got a very low level of body fat. These guys probably both have the same level of body fat. I would imagine that Mo Farah is probably somewhere around, 6% body fat? And Usain Bolt is probably somewhere similar, 6% body fat. Now, they don't sit like this year round, I wouldn't imagine. But when they're in competition, when Usain Bolt has become the fastest man in the world, he is probably sitting at around 6, maybe 4% body fat. I don't know. Don't quote me. So what can we learn from this? Is that Usain Bolt doesn't do any long distance running. He does all short spurts. He does time in the gym, and he's in the absolute best shape out of the two of these guys. So what's that telling you straight away? That would be telling me that long distance running is not the answer. And you're actually probably just adding stress onto your body when you're doing long distance running. Why is it when you start off running, you do burn some body fat, but as time goes on, things start to slow down. You stop burning body fat. And this is why we kind of see this with people who typically do running for their workouts and they don't really sort out their diet. You'll notice that they'll often look like this. They'll have a little face, they'll have a little bit of a body, and then they'll have a pot belly, and then they'll have the rest of their body down here. It's a really shit example, but most of the time they'll have a belly. They won't be in any massive great shape, because what happens is when you do your first run, you start off up here. Your amount of calories burned versus the run that you've just done will be high, because your body's not used to doing the run. So your heart rate's going to be a little bit higher. You're going to have elevated levels of energy when you're going through the first run. So you're going to burn more calories naturally just by doing. If you haven't done walking in a while and you do a little bit more walking, then you're going to burn more calories than you do if you do it every day. But after a time, what happens is when you come across the spectrum here and you get towards the end, your body starts to get so used to running. You start getting faster. You start being able to run for longer periods of time. Eventually what happens is you get down to this point down here at the bottom. You're going out for runs. You could be running 10, 15, 20 kilometers, and your body's burning less and less calories every time you do it. And as a result of that, then you think that you're running longer, you're burning more calories, so you overconsume, you consume more food, and as a result of that, then you end up putting on the belly, you put on more body fat, but you don't ever get into the shape that you're looking to get into. All the while, let's just remember that I'm not knocking on this. You're also, along this spectrum here, you're also getting fitter. If that is your goal, as I said, then keep running. But if your goal is not to get fitter, then we do not need to be running all the time. Okay? Hopefully we're following me so far. So if we do too much cardio, it's going to lead to 4 simple little things. So the first one is muscle loss. This one here. To lose muscle will almost guarantee that you will stop dropping body fat, because the more muscle you have, the harder your body has to work when you're at rest. If your body's working hard at rest, it has to burn fat. But if you've got less muscle, then it doesn't have to work as hard when you're at rest. So you're not going to burn as much body fat just sitting at rest. Part of the reason why, if you do too much cardio, you actually have the negative effect compared to what you think you're actually going to do. It's going to slow down your metabolism here. If your metabolism slows down, you're not going to be able to burn food as fast when you eat it. Thus, food is going to start getting stored as body fat. And what happens when food is stored as body fat? You get fatter. You don't burn the body fat that you're looking to burn. And as a result, you have the opposite effect to what you want the cardio to do. So you think that punishing yourself for the treat that you had at the weekend by going out and eating loads and loads of food at the weekend and then going on the cross trainer or the treadmill or whatever it is for 2-3 hours next week is going to help you. It's not. It's actually just going to slow down your metabolism, and it's going to have the opposite effect. So you're wasting your time. You're going to have higher cravings. When you have higher cravings, then you're going to want to snack more. You're going to go for shit foods, because when you have cravings, you never crave lettuce. You never crave tomatoes. You never crave carrots. You go straight for the shit food. You go for the chocolate bars. You go for the crisps. And if you've got higher cravings because you've been running throughout the day or you're doing loads of cardio, then it's going to be very hard to stave off those cravings. And then as a result, you're going to be in a calorie surplus because you're eating more calories because they're very calorie dense food. And as a result, you're going to end up putting on body fat and not dropping it, which is the one thing that you're looking to do. And this is the big one here, fatigue. When it comes to fatigue, you will fatigue so often. So if you're running 4 times a week, say, you might run Monday and Tuesday. Likelihood is you probably haven't recovered from your run on Monday to allow you to go and run on Tuesday. So then you're going to get more and more fatigued. You won't be able to recover. And if you're not recovering, then your body gets into a state of overdrive. If you're constantly in a state of overdrive, then your body's always going to be in an alert state. So you're not going to recover. And if you don't recover, then your muscles will never get to relax. So your body is just going to constantly store body fat. It's the fight or flight, kind of like back in the day. Do you remember when humans used to have to fight saber-toothed tigers every morning? They were always in a fight or flight state. That's what you're going to be in if you're constantly out and about. So Simon managed to lose over 25 kg in 8 months without ever having to go for a run. So Simon never ran. He doesn't run. It's not a part of his cardio. He might do, at the end of some of his sessions, he might go on the treadmill. He might spend a little bit of time just perfecting what he's doing with his little bit of extra steps or whatever. But realistically, this is all that Simon has done. So he's gone to the gym 3 to 4 times a week. He's stayed in a calorie deficit. And he's just increased his steps if he needed to gain or drop a little bit of extra body fat. He hasn't gone for runs or anything like that. And this is the final result. So you'll be able to see it if you're watching on the video. He's gone from the left here, where he was sitting at, I think he was at 105 kg. He's now sitting at around 70, somewhere around 70, 80 kg, which is phenomenal for Simon. He's done it in 8 months. It's a very short amount of time to do that. And the pictures speak for themselves with Simon. Like, I don't need to really speak about this. If you can see the video, you'll be able to see the results that he's had without ever running. He's never gone for a run. So there's a little triangle here. So what you'll notice is these are the 3 most important things when it comes to dropping body fat and staying in shape. You'll notice that nowhere on this triangle is running. Running is nowhere to be seen. But running also can count as cardio. So like, I'm here for it. If you want to do a little bit of running, go and do it. Like, have at it. But what you'll notice here at the top of the triangle, we've got steps. If your steps are in a good place, you're guaranteed to drop body fat because you're going to have the extra calorie burn from the steps that you're doing, regardless of even if you're going for a run. So you can use your runs to accumulate steps. I'm all for that. So go for a run, do your 5K. You'll probably get 4,000 or 5,000 steps out of that. Now all you need to do for the rest of the day is make up another 5,000 steps. So that's the first thing you need to do. You need to nail your steps. I recommend people aim for 10,000 steps a day. I don't know what's wrong with my pen. It's not working very well at the moment. I'll try to zoom this in here and see if this makes a difference. Yeah. Okay. 10K steps a day. When it comes to my tablet's having an absolute shit hack here. Nutrition, we just want to be in a calorie deficit. And we want to make sure that we're eating lots of whole foods. Finally, down here in the bottom left, strength training with weights in the gym. This is so important. You want to do this 3 to 4 days per week. And you want to make sure that you're either training full body workouts or upper lower. And these are the 3 things you need to drop body fat and get in shape. Quite literally, just the 3 of these things. If you have all the 3 of these things in there, I can guarantee you'll get into shape. If you're missing one of them, i.e., if we'll say, for instance, our steps are not there 3-4 weeks in a row, then you're going to find it very hard to drop body fat. If your nutrition isn't nailed in for 3 or 4 weeks in a row, then I guarantee you're going to find it very hard to drop body fat. If you manage to get your steps and your nutrition in shape, but your strength training isn't necessarily there, then you might be able to get some progress, but you're still going to struggle a little bit. So we need to make sure that we have all 3 of these things working in unison. This is a really shit arrow representation. And if these 3 things are working in unison, then you will achieve the best results that you can with your body fat. So just to kind of preface at the end of this episode here, at the end of this video, I don't hate running. I'm here for it. I really do think that running has its place. If you want to be a runner, if you want to improve your 5Ks, your 10Ks, if you want to do half marathons, full marathons, have at it. Enjoy it. That's what you're doing it for. But I'm not here for this idea that you can just start running and you think that it's going to help you get in shape. So if you're trying to get in shape and you think that running is the solution, hopefully this video has told you that it isn't. Please stop running to try and get in shape. If you want to get in shape, Follow this little triangle here, and this will make life so much easier for you when it comes to getting in shape. If you do need help getting in shape, just drop me a message on Instagram. My username is GavinBennett_LL or P. The link will be in the description. Drop me a message. Let's have a conversation, and I can give you some tips and tricks right now to help you get in shape. But for now, thanks very much for listening along. Speak to you very soon.